Hello and welcome to the American Society of Regional Anesthesia and Pain podcast. We are live here at the ASRA Spring 23 meeting in Hollywood, Florida, and we are having a phenomenal time. Great attendance, great programs, fantastic location, beautiful weather, and right here next to me I have the program chair for this annual meeting, Dr. Steve Haskins. Steve, how are you?
I'm great, Raj. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all that you do for the society and for always, making sure that everyone feels totally like they're missing out on the opportunity
They are missing out. They are
experience
missing out.
the joy. I wish we had a view of the ocean from this
Yeah.
room because honestly, I was blown away by how amazing this venue is and how it gives you the opportunity the second you walk out of the conference hall to be, be able to look out, see the ocean and see the ocean.
It's pretty fantastic. And
yeah.
the look behind us right here, we've got so much activity, we've got so much enthusiasm for the specialty, got a lot of energy by our industry sponsors, a lot of energy by our attendees, a lot of fascinating programming here at the meeting. So for those of you guys who don't know, Steve was tasked with this job almost 4 years ago. He's been working on this little brainchild that he's been kind of nesting on for years now, finally got to hatch. How's the meeting going for you?
It is incredible to see, what was in your head and then put on paper and then in an Excel spreadsheet and then many emails turn into reality.
Turn into like real rooms and workshops.
Real rooms and
faces
to the names and content to the concepts. And so I'm blown away by how incredible our faculty are, how much energy, enthusiasm we're seeing from the learners. It's beautiful outside, and yet the conference halls are packed with attendees.
The workshops are filled up, and people are really energetic about some of the content that you guys have created. Now, talk to me a little bit. You spent a lot of time thinking about how to make some unique content for this meeting. One of the focuses of the meeting, of course, it is the 100-year anniversary of the founding of the original American Society of Regional Anesthesia by Gaston Labat. So we're celebrating that. But in that celebration, you're also bringing in inclusion. You're thinking about how do we bring everybody into this wonderful family that we have here. Talk about how you kind of actually programmatically, not just put lip service to it, but actually put feet on podiums.
Yeah, so, when I initially came up with this concept, I really wanted us as a society to embrace diversity in its broadest sense. So there's the demographic diversity, and we as a society have been championing, elevating women in the society.
You want to join us for the podcast?
Yeah,
come on, Stephanie.
Stephanie, we're recording.
Oh, yeah, we're recording right here.
And this is a great example. So I'm going to get to why Stephanie is an important part of this. So we've been championing, elevating the women in our society, giving them more opportunity and leadership and visibility within the conference and throughout. But I felt this was an opportunity for us to, really demonstrate, the importance of health equity when it comes to racial and ethnic diversity, members of our LGBTQIA community, and the impact that we can have in terms of their care, patients and even physicians with disability, and how it's challenging for them to navigate our medical system, what it means to be, an older physician and how to have longevity in your career. Yeah. But then there's also diversity in terms of, our practice, private versus academic.
Yeah.
The type of science, the science that we look at, clinical versus basic. Right.
Huge difference is private versus academic, but we're finding so much overlap, so much to learn from each other in how to improve all of our practices. And you were talking about the inclusion, so many different we like to call them categories, but really what we're trying to do is just broaden the circle.
Yep.
And what's interesting about how you presented it is it's not about politics, it's not about, one side or the other. It's more about the science, about how do we care for patients as individuals and meet them where they are so that we can deliver the best outcomes for their care.
Absolutely.
And opening our eyes to some of the opportunities that thinking this way brings.
And having these conversations without the silos, having them all happen at the same time, and allow us to learn from our shared experiences in these different practice environments, in our different ways in which we practice, and the new applications, although they're ancient, but they're new in our world. things like complementary medicine, acupuncture, hypnosis, how they can potentially be utilized in the perioperative setting.
Come this way a little bit so we can see Stephanie.
The really
camera
innovative
too, so.
work that Stephanie Chen here has been doing at HSS, and so thrilled to have her her inaugural workshop teaching auricular acupuncture as one of the additions to this meeting. So I'll
Talk
hand
about
it over.
I mean, I'm so honored to actually be able to bring the first workshop of complementary medicine, acupuncture, and hypnosis in particular to the conference for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And we're
I think we've had some complementary medicine stuff at the chronic pain meetings in the fall.
Fair.
But now we're talking about it in the acute pain environment too, and using it even in our PACUs. And it's not just a chronic condition issue.
Yeah, so our model isn't operating at the moment, and we're going to be hopefully expanding, but hopefully we can bring this modality out there and really show people exactly how helpful it can be for patients, for surgeons, for anesthesiologists, and the value it brings to your practice itself. And I've had such great feedback from everybody that it just really elevates my career even a little bit.
Do you think people are walking away from this meeting with just an introduction to the concept, or do you think they actually have a direct takeaway that they can implement right away?
So depending on the state, because each state has its own set of requirements, and depending on the institution that you're in, but absolutely, if your state and your institution allows it, everything that you're going to learn in the workshop, you're going to be able to do Monday morning.
Wow, that's fantastic. And you've already had the workshop?
Tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Tomorrow at 10 a.m. So I'm really interested to see what that does for the meeting, and how we expand what tool sets all of our physicians have to deal with complex patients. I mean, oftentimes we try everything we do to do opioid-sparing anesthetics and have no nausea, and then there are just these resistant patients, and then you're like, okay, I guess we have to give them opioids now, or I guess we have to give them Phenergan, and now we have some other alternatives, and more of these things we have in our tool belt, the better off we are.
It adds value to our practice. It allows us to separate ourselves from other practitioners. So I think it's and it's just kind of fun to learn and expand your knowledge and your skill set. To know that being a lifelong learner is an important part of being an ASRA.
Yeah, that's great. Tell me a little bit more about some unique programs we had. Hey, Sanjay, you want to join us? We're recording here, so come on over.
Oh, sorry.
No, come on over here. Stand right here. So this is Dr. Sanjay Sinha. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for
it's good to have you at the meeting here. Have you gone to some of the lectures, done some of the workshops? Have you been teaching
I've
some?
gone to the lectures in the morning.
Yeah.
Some of them were outstanding. And
tell me about, because I had to go to workshops. Tell me a little bit about some of the standout talks.
I think I was having a hard time understanding the value of spinal versus general for a hip
It's a
surgery.
hot topic right
it's
now.
It's a hot topic. And,
so just to give context to
I
people.
we had an expert, Dr. Matsumoto.
Stavros Matsoudas.
Stavros,
Yeah.
give a lecture
and
instead
him and
of,
Colin McCartney were doing
right,
the
and
pro-con,
really
right?
dissect those studies out.
Yeah.
And tell us maybe it's not the maybe there's some advantages of doing the spinal. Maybe it's not that advantageous. Maybe it's the comorbidity of the patients that's more important.
Yeah.
In
we have
getting
to
the
be.
outcomes.
It's not a one-size-fits-all solution,
Right.
but it's another opportunity for select patients or institutions that have really stellar infrastructure or process improvement to make and take advantage of spinal anesthesia might provide actually a really great opportunity to do that.
Right, and then I attended the lecture on the fascial plane blocks and the live scanning, and that was interesting.
What did they do differently with the live scanning? They did it on the stage.
So
they had
did
a model
it right
there?
on the stage with the images being projected on the big screen.
Yeah.
So it was great to listen to the experts sort of explaining the different fascial plane blocks and how they're evolving and how you can use it in your clinical practice. So
it's a lot of little subtle details and tips that people can provide.
Every time you listen to them, even though you are familiar with them, you pick up a nugget here and there that helps you improve your block or refine your technique.
Right. And what are you doing tomorrow? What are you hoping to see?
I haven't decided yet, so I haven't had a chance to sort of take a look at the schedule tomorrow.
Hey, I'm
sure
giving a
it'll-
talk on podcasting tomorrow.
That'll be great.
That's going to be awesome.
That's going to be awesome. Definitely.
I don't know if I'm podcasting my podcasting talk. I don't think I'm doing that.
Right.
That's a little too much to do at the same time.
That's
Yeah. Hey, so I actually went to a really interesting talk workshop as an attendee. So good, thank you. As an attendee on fluoroscopy for neuraxial procedures. So this is the first time we have offered that at the spring meeting.
Yep.
Really phenomenal, expert training. We had two perspectives presented. So we had the group from Dartmouth, Hitchcock Hospital, talking to us about how they're using it at a very, very basic level for an acute pain. Hey, Gina, hey, you want to join us? We're actually recording our podcast. No, please come. Come here. Come on in now. Just 2 minutes. Come here.
So what?
Just say hi. So we're going to publish this on in a little bit, talking about our meeting. This is Eleni Mocha. She's the ASRA president-elect. And Alan Delbos is back here too. He's hiding back here. So you're here from ASRA.
Yes, I am, and thank you for the invitation.
Yes. How are you enjoying this meeting?
It's an excellent meeting. Congratulations.
Thank
It's
you.
fantastic.
Congratulations to him. He really
Yes,
put this whole thing
to the chair
together.
of the scientific committee, I think.
Yes.
And in a real family ambience that I truly enjoy.
Now, I want to talk about something really important. You guys have a big meeting coming up this fall,
Yes, the World Congress of
the World Congress.
Regional Anesthesia and Pain Medicine in
It's in,
September.
yeah, and it's in a city. I've heard of that city
The
before.
City of Light.
Oh, it's in Paris. Yeah, nice city to have a meeting,
We
especially
are
in September.
waiting all of you to be there.
Oh, it's
and,
going to be. I think it's going to be an exciting
it will
meeting.
be a celebration. It's
Yes.
a World Congress.
Yeah.
The idea of the World Congress started from ASRA back
Yeah.
in 2002, and now is the second time it returns to ASRA.
We've gone full circle now. Come back.
Exactly.
And we had the World Congress here in the United States in New York, in 2018, and it just turned fantastic. It was like I think we had over 2,000 people attend, almost 2,500 I think, and it was so well received. Amazing conference, amazing meeting, and I'm sure the one in Paris is going to be just as great,
It will
maybe
be
bigger.
an amazing experience, I believe.
Yeah.
And we hope that you will all will be there to celebrate
Yeah,
again.
and all of you guys too. The registration is open now.
Yes, it is open
Yeah.
since a couple of months already.
Excellent.
And in 1 month
Paris
it's
in
the
September.
deadline for abstract submission, the first deadline.
Wow, fantastic.
Plus, there are competitions for best video, best infographic,
Yeah.
and many other activities that you can find on the Congress website.
That's awesome. Where do they go? What's the website? I think it's Ezra.com, and then you can get
Exactly.
to the World Congress
Exactly.
link from there, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank
Enjoy the
you.
rest of the meeting.
Thank you.
So nice to see you.
So much for coming.
Thank you.
How are you? You want to come join us? Talk to us up here. We're recording right now for our podcast. Here, come stand right here. This is Iman Nada. How are you?
Good.
How have you enjoyed the meeting so far?
Very nice. I
Yes.
had a good experience.
Yeah.
I attended some booster sessions and attended the refresher course.
Which one did you attend today?
I attended both.
Yes.
I attended,
So they had the pro-con on the hip surgery.
Yes, that was great.
Yeah.
Because it went through all the literature and honestly revised it and reviewed it.
It's confusing. There's been a lot of confusion, a lot of new information, and I think that people are lost on how to interpret it. So I'm glad there's a discussion
Yes.
about this.
Yeah, the regain study is great, but the outcomes they're looking for is not the outcomes that anesthesiologists look for. But it's a great study. It's prospective, randomized, and like multi-center. So I think there's good things, but there's some questions that still needs to be answered.
Yeah, I think what people don't understand is it's more of a conversation starter than a conversation finish.
Yes.
I think that group, the Regain group, challenged our preconceived notions about spinal versus general, but in the context of the study design. And in that context, you can make that interpretation, but that doesn't mean that we can't do better than the context of the study,
Exactly.
right? And that might change the outcomes, and it opens the door for people to do better studies,
Yes.
you know?
Real world is sometimes different than studies, and
Yeah.
patients are sicker. I think the good thing about the studies finding no difference is that you have the liberty to choose which anesthesia, but we still need the answer overall, which one is better regarding complications in this age group of sicker patients.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to for the rest of the meeting?
I'm always learning. I see people do things differently. I learn from the discussions. So, like, all the sessions are interesting to me.
Yeah. And we've had such a great attendance. I think we're over 1,100 people at this meeting. That's the highest we've had in the post-pandemic era. So we're seeing the revitalization of these in-person meetings. So I think it's really great to see that.
Yeah, I'm excited about attending the cryoneurolysis. It's a
so we've been talking about
us. Yeah.
There's a lot of new innovative things in the cryoneurolysis for acute pain. So again, another topic that was in the chronic pain world, and now we're bringing into acute pain.
Yes.
Have you done any of that in your practice?
No, I didn't.
I think there's a lot of people exploring it now as a alternate therapy.
Yeah.
The other one that's really a hot topic is the nerve stimulation.
Nerve stimulation is a hot
peripheral
topic
nerve
I'm very
stimulation.
interested in.
Yeah.
And actually the cryo is not new, but it's
New
it's
implementation.
it's making like recurrence and new technology, new implementation under ultrasound. So
I think that's part of it too, is the technology is becoming more accessible.
Yes.
Not as bulky, easier to
As
use,
it was
not as
before.
complex. Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Thank you so much. I
You're
hope you have a
welcome.
wonderful meeting.
Thank you
and
so much.
yeah, I'll talk to you later. Yeah. So again, you're seeing a lot of stuff going on at this meeting. There's a lot of new workshops, many lectures. Oh, we got some more people. Come on. Steve, come on over too. Hey, we've got Kelly and Jenny. How are you guys? Steve Porter. Yes. Hey.
Can you grab this other microphone?
No, I've got two microphones here.
Oh, you
This
do?
is the second one.
Oh,
That's the first one.
This is the
Yes.
passing around one.
Yes.
It's the passing around one.
How are you, Kelly?
I'm good. It's so nice
These are
to be
familiar
here.
faces.
Yes.
Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
We miss you if you're not here.
Yes, you should come.
Come next time.
San
Yes,
Diego.
San Diego
San
will be
Diego,
great.
it's coming
Yes,
around soon.
It's already amazing. It's day one. I am blown away already.
So tell me where you went today.
So today I taught my first workshop as associate faculty, and it was
Excellent.
amazing.
What did you teach?
So fascia iliaca blocks, supra-inguinal for hip fractures, and we do it for hip fractures. You can also do it for hip arthroplasty.
Yeah.
It was nice to have the debate about PENG versus fascia iliaca versus QL.
That's what everybody's
And kinda
talking about.
scan.
Hey, Gene.
Yeah.
You want to come say hi real quick? We're recording.
No, it's been great.
Just talking a recap of
Actually
the
got
meeting.
roped into
Yeah.
to teach tomorrow at the spine workshop.
Yeah.
So I'm
That's
really
awesome.
excited.
I'm
It's
gonna
so
let-
welcoming to new faculty.
Yeah,
Is this a great meeting or what?
it is a great meeting.
Right? Is it the most
So
wonderful
good.
experience to be here with all of our friends and colleagues?
Yeah.
There's nothing like a live meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now let me ask you about one special thing. This is the 100-year anniversary.
Yes.
We've got a lot of people that have heritage in this organization.
Yes.
We've also invited a lot of international people here. Talk about how this broadens the society, having this depth and breadth.
So I think the celebration in itself helps us look back at the history of how the society formed. So I think that's a really important because it's so easy to forget your history.
Yeah.
And one of my great fears as I leave the board is that even in the 15 years I've been on the board, we went from like not having money in the bank to being a very solvent society that has global influence.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to forget where you were even 10 years ago,
Yeah.
Yeah.
let alone 100 years ago. So, I mean, I think the idea that we start to collect an archive
Yeah.
and we, while people are alive, bring them to the meeting and reflect on how we can make ASRA great
Yeah.
and continue to keep ASRA great.
And
Yeah.
and if for those of you guys don't know, for this meeting, a lot of our former presidents and the Labatt
Yeah.
winners had interviews recorded
Yeah.
talking about their experience and history in
Yeah.
the organization, and that's going to be archived on the
I think
website.
it's wonderful.
And
What-
so that's a living memory of that.
What I found, it was very focused on what happened during my presidency.
Yeah.
And it was really sobering for me to kind of go through what we did in the background that probably nobody knows.
Yeah.
And, maybe it's best that we don't know how the sausage
Oh, it's
was
recorded.
made.
It's all recorded now, so it's
Yeah.
now they'll know.
Respect.
Yeah.
But I think to go back over those various presidencies and hear what occurred and what the challenges were at the time is just a really important exercise for
It
the
helps us
society.
grow for the future.
And
to
helps you
learn
grow.
from that.
Yeah.
I did a couple of those interviews, and it was such a joy to
Yeah.
speak to these people that have, one, obviously are impactful to what we do every day clinically and in research, but also impactful to making this thing exist as it does today. And hopefully we can make that impact so that, 10, 15 years down the road, they look back at what we did.
The other thing is the society has changed so much in even the 35 years that I've been involved. To a time when we were nothing but regional, and the only sponsor here was ASRA, the House of Regional, and that was it, And all we did was stick needles anatomically where we thought things were, and you might do transarterial, or you might try to make the arm jerk. And then I remember when we introduced neurostimulation, and that was a big thing. And then the process of introducing ultrasound. And what's next? Because we're kind of getting to the end of ultrasound.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it.
Well, we were talking about cryoneurolysis. We were talking about peripheral nerve stimulators. We were talking about fluoroscopy for acute pain neuraxial procedures. We're talking.
Right.
So there is innovation. It's happening.
And I think ASRA has to really think, you see that pain medicine?
Yeah.
We have to really think about our role outside the operating room and perioperative medicine and doing things, because the economics are shifting. We're not going to be paid for procedures. They've basically stopped paying us for imaging. So it's not really good to think about how much, let's bring fluoroscopy in. We're not going to pay for that. We got to think about how the society can produce value. And I think that's going to be in personalized perioperative medicine.
But we're actually positioned quite well to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Gene.
It's my pleasure.
So nice to
Edit
chat
out
with
the
you.
obscenities.
No, it all
Thank
stays.
you so
This is
much.
real life, man.
It is live.
Thank you, Gene.
Oh, it's live. Oh, it's even worse. Okay.
Thanks, Gene.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
So
to
Jenny,
see you.
talk to us a little bit about stuff that you had seen so far.
Oh my
I haven't
gosh,
gotten to see
so-
you all day, so I don't know where you've been running. around.
I have actually been in lectures all day, and that was a really nice treat for me because the last 2 meetings I've been being more active with teaching and everything else. And so today, just being able to be back in the audience, live tweeting, interacting with all of the different members, it's been so fun to be able to be kind of back 10 years ago where I was just starting out. And I agree with what Gene was saying. I think there's so much for us to innovate. I think there is a lot of room for us to grow as perioperative physicians. But I think the bottom line is the fact that we are all still, as Ed was saying, cheerleaders for each other. We all need to hold the door open for each other, and that is what ASRA stands for. And I sincerely hope that none of that ever goes away. But also with that is, I don't think it ever will, because I think that is part of the core value of what ASRA is.
It runs deep through these veins.
Oh,
We're a
absolutely.
family.
We are a
We're a
family.
family.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
That's right, exactly. I mean, that's why we've been part of it. Kelly and I met here, 10, 11 years ago?
It's
crazy,
And we've been able to stay in touch and grow in each other's careers the entire time. So that's been fun. But I'm going to hand it over to Steve because I think he's got some things to
Steve,
add.
welcome.
Yeah, sure.
How are you?
Great, thanks.
So Steve's going to be thinking about some of this stuff.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Raj for getting the nice weather. So
Yes,
appreciate
I know.
that.
We've had
And all the
gorgeous
ASRA
weather
staff.
out here.
They move the clouds around. So I just got here this afternoon. I recently just kind of drove down. I'm practicing in northern Florida. And my main commitments to the meeting are really kind of some behind-the-scenes stuff, planning for future meetings, as well as, working with some of the program directors around the country. ASRA is one of the main places, the place, where really kind of all the program directors get together for the regional anesthesia, acute pain medicine fellowships, and talk about issues affecting the training of regional anesthesiologists. And then also this year focusing on doing a little bit of a pivot on the resident fellows workshop. It's historically been a very long workshop, which is good and bad. So pros and cons to taking up a lot of time. Dedicated faculty, there's lots of faculty there who are dedicating 4 hours to this stuff, but 4 hours is a big ask for attendees. So we've kind of split it up this year. So it's not just traditional scanning, workshop. We're going to have a talk, a PBLD session led about called the first 90 days, the transition to becoming an attending. So that's one thing. And then the other thing that we're doing is a little teach the teacher session, having trainees practice teaching procedures to us, not because of content, but it's about how do you position yourself? How do you position the model? Right. How do you interact with the ultrasound? How do you deal with attendees who have no experience? How do you deal with the attendee who has too much experience?
Right.
So we want to provide, some value add for the trainees.
It's professional development. It's
Exactly.
also part of their growth. And you mentioned earlier the fellowship directors. I want to emphasize that. So for a while, the chronic pain fellowship directors had a more organized group of people and were part of the fall meeting, has regularly been part of the society. Now the acute pain regional fellowship directors are, because of the recent development of the MATCH program, are now organizing into a similar group that will also be within the auspices of this society, and that will be part of the spring meeting. So now, between the spring and the fall meeting, we have great opportunities for fellows or aspiring fellows and fellowship directors to interact with each other, make those connections, build those relationships, and then hopefully encourage them and help them see that this becomes a home base for them into their junior professional career, and hopefully past that as well.
Yeah, and I just want to echo what the sentiments of I think hopefully everyone who's coming to chat with you, which is that the only reason that we're here is for the members. Yeah. So all the members out there who are attending, seek us out. You don't see, just say hi to everyone. We're here to say hi. There's not like a faculty over there and attendees over here. Yeah. And if you're not here, seek us out anyways.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we've got such representatives. We've got a junior, almost program director. We've got me. I'm the vice chair of the private practice SIG. We've got
a lot of different varieties.
All of our residents and fellows. I mean, we've got our seasoned board member over here. I mean, it's amazing.
And everybody has that opportunity to kind of interact in this society. Yeah. And one thing I love about what we've done over the last decade is really leveled out the organization where everybody can approach anybody. Yes. There's not like these higher up people that you read all their documents and papers, and there's not this hierarchy where I won't approach you because, oh my God, like I read all your papers, you're so intimidating. Like there's it's none of that. None of that here.
I joined as a graduate student.
Actually, I remember.
Gene Viscusi encouraged me because he was on my committee, and it has just been such a welcoming place. And now as a rising program director, I'm so excited to be part of this and to learn from what chronic pain has done, to learn from all of you, and to really help grow it for all the trainees coming up. To build that legacy. Absolutely.
I want to thank everybody for watching. We're at the ASRA Spring 23 meeting in Hollywood, Florida. I hope you guys can come to the fall meeting if you're interested in those topics. Come to next year's spring meeting in San Diego, and we will see you guys soon. Thank you, everybody.